Welcome to the Bakersfield City Council meeting. This television broadcast is brought to you by the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m., Sunday at 10 a.m., and the following Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can download the agenda for this meeting at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over this evening's meeting, the Honorable Karen Go.
Good evening. Welcome to the 5:15 City Council meeting of January 10th, 2018. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Go.
Here.
Vice Mayor Smith.
I am here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilmember Weir.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Here.
Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Parlier.
Thank you. Well, it's a joy to welcome all of you. Happy New Year. So good to start off the new year with a full house. I see we have a lot of city employees out there. Thank you so much for all that you do to serve our city. We appreciate it. At this time, we're going to have the invocation. Unfortunately, Monsignor Perry, who is scheduled to speak, is not able to tonight, and so we're going to have our Vice Mayor lead us in the invocation. And then following our invocation, Haley York, who's an 8th grade student at Freedom Middle School, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Haley just happens to be the most outstanding person. She has a resume like this, but I can only tell you a few points. She's student council president. She's a 4.0 GATE student. She's enrolled in Chevron's Project Lead the Way. She's an avid dancer, and she's preparing right now for the Nutcracker. In November, I had the privilege of being at Freedom Middle School, where the school honored our veterans. We're so thankful for an all-school ceremony where they honored veterans bringing their families and others who had served our country. And then together, they raised over $3,000 to help send veterans to honor flights. So a trip for those veterans who had served to see the memorial in Washington, D.C. named in their honor. And leading that charge was Principal Russell Sentis. We're so glad to have you here tonight, and then we're so glad to have Haley's mom, Melinda York, here tonight. So we'll have right now the invocation, if you would all stand for that, and following that, Haley will lead us in the pledge.
Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for life itself, and every breath is a gift from you. We pray for peace in our community and understanding within our citizens. And God, we just pray for wisdom for the decisions that you put in front of us today. Guide us in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Haley, and you may be seated. Here are a few guidelines to help our meeting run smoothly. We request that you turn off your phones. In keeping with council policy, council members aren't allowed to send or receive electronic communications during the meeting. Please be courteous in the use of your cameras and videos. Applause is allowed during the presentation portion of the meeting, but it's not allowed at other times of the meeting. For safety reasons and as a courtesy to others, no signs are allowed in our chambers. We thank you very, very much for your cooperation. Madam Clerk, would you please read the first item?
Under presentations, we have certificates of appreciation to the Bakersfield Sister City Youth Ambassadors who represented the city at Busan, Republic of South Korea during the summer 2017.
It has been such an honor to have sister cities, and we have a wonderful sister city in Busan, South Korea. Councilmember Weir represented us there, was treated with great honor, and brought great honor from the city of Bakersfield. Recently, actually, in the fall, we had a delegation from Bouchon, their vice mayor, and some council members visit us here, and then we had this wonderful trip from ambassadors, our youth ambassadors, who actually went over to Bouchon and represented us there for a week. They got to be there with other sister cities, and then this last week we had the privilege of having their counterparts, young people from Bouchon, join us over here, and they got to host our Bouchon visitors, and we are just so proud that we have outstanding young people here representing our community, representing our city in the nations abroad. And so tonight it's going to be my honor to recognize them. We have William Ball from Liberty High School, Amber Butler from Bakersfield High, Ryan Ferguson from Stockdale High, Elise Honecker from Liberty High, and Grace Lawrence from Independence High. And it's my privilege to present each of them with a certificate. William, come on forward. Thank you so much for representing us. Amber, come on forward. Miss Butler, thank you so much for representing us. And Ryan Ferguson, thank you for representing us. Elise Honecker. Did I say your name wrong? Is it Honey? Oh, I did it right. Okay, very good. Thank you for representing us. And then Grace Lawrence. Thank you, Grace. Thank you for representing us. Did we miss anybody? We had a couple more, but I don't think they made it. Would you all join me? And then we actually, I'm going to give you just a minute to address them, but let's go ahead and take a picture, and then we'll have Mr. Sproul represent the group. Come on up here. Let's take a picture together. Thank you so much for all you're doing for our city. Put on your big smiles, and we'll just do it right here. Right there.
Perfect. Thank you. On three. 1, 2, 3.
A big round of applause. Thank you so much. We have Evan Sproul, who is our advisor to Sister City Youth. Would you like to come up and make a few comments? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary Go. It was an absolute privilege for me to accompany these kids over to South Korea last July. And I'm going to tell something that I don't know that many people know. I've told them, but we had the Korean hosts treated us like kings and queens, and I was told by my translator, guide, surrogate mother, whatever you want to call her, that all the other guides, all the other people, officials were jealous of her because she had Bakersfield. And our kids were well behaved, and there weren't that many problems, but there were a couple, and they weren't from our kids, and I was grateful for that. We had Russians, Chinese, Japanese, Americans, and Koreans all together, and we had a great time. It was good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sproul. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Presentation of a proclamation to Stephen Schilling declaring January 10, 2018, Stephen Schilling Day.
And I see the man in the audience. Come on up here, Mr. Schilling. You do get to come up. You are the man. Come on up here. So good to see you. Stephen Schilling is a legend. Steve, you've done so much for our community. This is a really long whereas proclamation, but I think it would be appropriate for me to read that. We're just so appreciative. Come on up here. You can blush in front of the cameras, but let me read this, and this doesn't happen every day. Proclamation, Office of the Mayor. Whereas Stephen Schilling, a native Californian, received his Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from California State University at Chico, and whereas upon graduation, Steve joined the Peace Corps and worked for 27 months in the rural redevelopment of South America before locating to Bakersfield in 1973. And whereas establishing roots in Bakersfield, Steve assumed the role of Chief Fiscal Officer of Clínica de los Campesinos, later renaming the nonprofit organization Clínica Sierra Vista. And whereas as the Chief Executive Officer of Clínica Sierra Vista, Steve transformed the once trailer-sized clinic into a prominent agency with 75 locations, over 1,200 employees and medical staff, and serving over 200,000 people. And whereas for over 40 years, Steve expanded Clínica to 3 counties, Kern, Fresno, and Inyo, making Clínica Sierra Vista the largest nonprofit in Kern County and one of the largest in the San Joaquin Valley. And whereas expanding health care and support for the underserved of San Joaquin Valley, from the homeless to the isolated to migrant farm workers to those battling conditions like HIV, AIDS. And whereas in 2014, Clínica Sierra Vista began offering the Rio Bravo Family Medicine Residency Program after Kern County's Public Health Hospital, Kern Medical Center, discontinued its own medical residency program. And whereas Steve Schilling has dedicated his life's work to helping those in underserved communities by providing them with adequate health care. Now, therefore, I, Karen Go, Mayor of the City of Bakersfield, do hereby proclaim January 10th, 2018 as Stephen Schilling Day in the city. And we recognize and thank Stephen Schilling for his dedicated and exceptional service to the City of Bakersfield, and in particular as Chief Executive Officer of Clínica Sierra Vista, and wish him well in retirement. It's dated at Bakersfield, California, this 10th day of January 2018, and it's signed Karen Go, Mayor of the City of Bakersfield. Steve, congratulations. Thank you so much. And now, don't go away. And now I get to do something that I'm only doing for the second time as mayor of Bakersfield. The first time I did this was on the day of my installation, and this is the second time when I get to offer.
Oh, that's very touching. Wow.
I'm presenting the key to the City of Bakersfield, presented to Stephen W. Schilling in recognition of over 40 years of outstanding leadership in expanding quality health care and support for the underserved of the San Joaquin Valley, and serving over 200,000 people at Clínica Sierra Vista's 75 locations. Steve, we're honored to be able to present this to you. Let's see whether I can do it.
Oh. Gorgeous.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow.
And let's take a picture together. Yes. How about that? And then you can make some comments. Yeah, that's allowable. We really appreciate it, Steve. And all of you who are here, I think there's a team. Why don't you just stand? And let's give them a round of applause. To make comments now, so let's do this. 40 years, you can talk as long as you want.
Well, I won't take that long. Thank you, Honorable Mayor Go, and members of the council, members of the community as well, and my staff. My family is here with me in the corner. They've, of course, put in a lot to make this all happen, and I appreciate their support. This city welcomed me 44 years and 4 months ago when I came in here. Never having set foot in Kern County or Bakersfield ever before. And I'll just tell you, you have become an unbelievable place to me as I think back on my life and my career. It was daunting back then. It was different. It was challenging. This was a community that not everybody was striving to get to and to spend their life and career. But I have just been completely touched and overwhelmed by the love and affection and support that I received. This town gives and gives and gives. Its people are tremendous. It has been my privilege to have spent my career serving, especially those persons in our community that maybe have a little less than others, in our efforts to try to bring up, rise all boats, if you will, and to bring some equity to this community. And I can't say enough about Bakersfield. You know, we sometimes, those of us from here, take a few knocks every now and then, but I have never met a more giving and welcoming and loving and friendly and supportive community as I have in Bakersfield. So I am exceptionally touched by Mayor Goh's gift of the key to me. I told the kids coming over, I think they're going to give me a key. I don't know. And I laughed, and I thought, well, I guess not. And then she did, and it's a very big privilege to receive this from you. And Karen herself, and many of you as well, many of you, and many past members of the council have spent years working in the same kind of charitable and community service undertakings that I've been a part of. Been involved in just giving constantly back to the city. Your own service yourselves is evidence of that. So I applaud you. Keep the faith. Keep doing what you do so well. And I'm proud to be of service to this community, and I will always remember the kindness and the welcoming that you gave to me so long ago. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Public statements.
At this time, we'll receive public statements. All statements are given a 3-minute time limit, 15 minutes per topic. I was going to have all of you come to the front, but I don't think that's really an option today. If you have written comments that are longer than your verbal statement, would you please give those to the clerk? She'll give copies to the council. Please avoid any behavior that disrupts the meeting. We're very interested and concerned with your issues, but due to the public notice requirement of the Brown Act, the council can't take action when an item isn't on the agenda. However, we're happy to listen to what you have to share with us. The council can, however, refer your matter to committee or request staff to contact you. If you're here to speak on hearing item number 10, now isn't the time to speak. You'll be given an opportunity later in the meeting when that part comes up. Madam Clerk, would you please call the first speaker?
Mayor, we have received 8 speaker cards regarding marijuana dispensaries and 7 speaker cards regarding separate subjects. The first speaker will be Rebecca Robinson.
Ms. Robinson, please come up here, introduce yourself. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. My name is Rebecca Robinson. I'm a small business owner in Kern County. I'm a 22-year Marine combat veteran, commanded 500 Marines. I've got a master's degree. I was the aide-de-camp to the vice chairman, and through my faith, I found my way home in 2014 and have become a contributing member to the community here in Bakersfield. I attend church twice a week, and I am reaching out constantly to the veteran community. I wanted to speak publicly about this particular topic because I had to overcome the time in the 80s when, Nancy Reagan was saying, say no to drugs and the DARE program and that sort of thing, and marijuana was characterized as something very heinous and terrible when I was a child. When I went into the Marines, it's a crime and you would lose your career over partaking in marijuana for any purpose. And there were many veterans that were over-medicated on active duty and now in the community for associated illnesses that medicinal marijuana does address. For myself, I attend a post-traumatic stress disorder support group once a week at the Veterans Administration, and because of my age and my gender, I have been put in with the Vietnam veterans, and so marijuana is actually a topic that we talk about pretty regularly in terms of how that's used over a period of time. I know how to deploy a brigade of Marines into combat and to impose the country's will, but I did not know how to traverse this topic, and I didn't know what the resources were in order to get the information that I needed to make a good decision about my health care. The person that I chose was my 20-something son, because he grew up in a different time. And I sought I'm sorry, this is very emotional. I sought my son's support because I knew that the narcotics that was being prescribed to me through the regular traditional health care was not working for me. I've sought alternative medical assistance, and my son has been a very big supporter and a very big advocate to help me find out the information. Once I got the preliminary information from him, I was able to go to the local dispensaries like GRC or Golden State Collective, or excuse me, Cooperative, and members of the staff there were very instrumental in helping me choose medications that would support the illness and the disorder that I have, so that it would relieve my symptoms and it wouldn't make me unable to perform like a regular member of society. I haven't been arrested. I haven't been disorderly. I feel very scared whenever I have been down to places to get medicine where they're not as reputable as the places that I've already mentioned. And I just appreciate you listening to my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Madam Clerk, did you set the timer? We have 15 minutes on this topic. Did you set that? Can you move it ahead? So we should only have actually 12 minutes left. So we have 15 minutes per topic. I think we have a number of speakers on this, so we have several speakers to get through. When you're ready, Madam Clerk, would you announce the next public speaker, please?
Christine Snow.
And while Ms. Snow is making her way up here, can we have all of you who are standing in the back, please find a seat so that we can make sure we're following fire regulations. So everybody who's standing in that back area, Ms. Snow, before you start, let's just get people situated. And there's some seats here on the side. We'll just fill in all of the seats, please. Some seats here on this side. All of you who are in the back, we need to make sure that we keep that area free for fire reasons. Just come on up here to the front. There's some seats up here. So again, we have 15 minutes per topic. We've used 3 of those minutes up already. And Ms. Snow, if you would introduce yourself. You have up to 3 minutes, but we have a number of speakers, so you might want to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Thank you for listening. I am a brain tumor survivor, which used medical marijuana to combat seizures. I am a Bakersfield born and raised, educated, worked and retired from a large school district here a few years ago right after surgery for a tumor, successful. You have closed, I'm not in favor of recreational, I'm medicinal and have been. You've now closed the safe, secure shop that I went to, which was beyond professional, I don't think any of you even paid a visit to. And now I'm forced to drive to Fresno or LA, which I'm 65. It's kind of frightening for me to go or get someone to go with me to go out of town to get something that worked for me. I have anxiety now. I'm off every prescription medicine that the doctors prescribed. I'm healthy. I'm active. I've been married 42 years. We have 11 grandchildren. I'm not your average weed enthusiast. You have really made me feel unsafe when I have to leave and take a day to go out of town to combat what I need. So I hope you keep in mind the consequences. I've had friends with breast cancer, with colon cancer. I wish you would rethink this issue. I'm going to end with a minute 7.
Thank you, Ms. Snow. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please. Just a reminder that we don't have applause other than during the presentations portion of the meeting, please. Thank you. Next public speaker, please.
Patty Stanfill Nolan.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Patty Stanfill Nolan. My family business is at Standard and Gilmore. It's been there for almost 35 years. We're in the crane construction business. And the very first medical dispensary for marijuana was set up there in 2008. It was never an issue to my family. It was never an issue to our business. The issue were the tweakers on the back side of the property we couldn't keep control of. About 5 years ago, we moved another business to Hasty Acres, right across from Gurk. Never had an issue with them. What we had an issue with were the tweakers and the homeless in the neighborhoods that would go through our clients' trucks. It was their security guard that kept all of our clients safe. So as far as storefront and businesses in this town, I have no issue with it. What I have an issue with is the current situation this town has with the tweakers and the homeless. Those are big issues. And our police and our code enforcement officers don't have enough time as it is now for that. And you expect them to go after something in California that's legal. It's just stunning to me. And if you think that, just a bunch of potheads run these businesses, who they are is scientists, tax collectors, analysts, typists, lawyers, guards, and store employees, all which bring money to this county, which we desperately need. A minute 40 on the clock.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Christine Gutierrez.
I think it's Christian. Mr. Gutierrez, come on forward. Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Christian Gutierrez. I'm 34 years old, and I gave 8 years of my life to the greatest fighting force in the world, United States Marine Corps. I completed 4 deployments, 1 to Iraq, 2 to Afghanistan, and this thing called the 11th MEU. Like, I'm gonna go straight to the point. I don't like marijuana. I don't like the smell of it. I don't like what the effects. However, I can sleep. A lot of you guys have the privilege of sleeping like a baby. Yeah, well, I don't. I have mental health issues. I have physical pain. And let me tell you, the first time I slept, I wept. I'm a grown man. I've seen a lot in my life. I've done a lot in my life. And I'm just seeking sleep. I'm not normal, nor will be, but if I can sleep like a normal person, oh man, I'm blessed. So I'm just here to ask you, don't force me to drive to Fresno or somewhere out of town, because the VA already does that. So I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just asking for help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. Madam Clerk, next public speaker, please.
Janet Tackett.
Hello.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself. You'll pull that down. Great.
A little shorter, I guess. We have operated Green Earth Remedies for 8 years, since January of 2010. We have never had any crime, no loitering, nothing at our store. It upsets me when I see all the news about all the stores, illegitimate as far as I'm concerned. We have run by the state laws, totally. We've received referrals from the Cancer Blood Center and Dr. Nugent, I don't know if I'm saying it right. We're having to close, and I don't understand when we've probably paid almost $500,000 in sales tax since we opened. I know that there's going to be an initiative on a ballot, and I'm not sure if it's going to be recreational or medical, but it will pass. And I've heard you guys say that Kern County did not vote for the last measure. We didn't vote for the recreational, and a lot of our patients didn't, because they want to keep it medical. They don't want the recreational. So I don't know what else to say. I just think you guys are wrong in doing this, and you probably have never even walked into a store. We have been totally compliant. The police come by and check us. People walk into our store and say, is this a marijuana store? Because it's more like a doctor's office. So please rethink what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tackett. Madam Clerk, do we have 2 more speakers on this topic?
We have 4 more speakers, Mayor.
Okay, we only have 5 minutes and 31 seconds left, so you might just gauge your time. Next speaker, please.
Wendy McClure.
Approximately 1 minute if we want to get all
I'll
of
try
the
to get
speakers
through
in.
it.
Thank you. Welcome, and please introduce yourself.
Okay, Wendy McClure. I'm a licensed nurse of about 40 years. I'm also a retired cop. I'll just say that for brevity. While on duty, I was stabbed, and it was so long ago that they had to send my blood off to France. Came back hepatitis C. I was told I was going to die. That was 30 years ago. I'm standing in front of you. Basically what happened is a friend of mine said, try some marijuana, see what you can do. And being a nurse, I was able to keep an eye on my labs, dropped my enzymes. Okay, I'm alive today. I was on opioids, I was on cigarettes, alcohol, you name it, I was using it, and it was all legal. Using pot, I got off of everything. Only thing I take now is a water pill. So now you've moved my medical marijuana into I can't get it here. I don't know who your accountant is, but if the feds are telling you that they'll pull funding, you're going to make, you heard, $500,000, you're going to make 3 times that much in taxes. You could get the opioid people off the streets. You could get your bums off the streets. I think it's a dumb move. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McClure. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Marilani Caetano.
Good evening.
Welcome.
My name
Please.
is Marilani Caetano. I'm a combat veteran of the United States Army. I am a BC student currently. I also work with a nonprofit organization known as Weed for Warriors, and we provide to your local members cannabis donations that are given by compassionate members of the community that have helped lower the statistic of 22 a day. That number does not include New York or California, so it's 22 plus. I'm trying to change that. I'm a survivor of suicide. I suffer from PTSD. I don't sleep well. I still struggle with day-to-day, just walking out the door is hard for me. Being here is hard for me. When I walk out, people see scars on my body from attempts of suicide. Cannabis has helped change that for me. I actually go out. I'm a student. saying that is a big deal for me. I hope you guys can reconsider your thought or your process on this, because it does help me, and it helps 22 of your members that I know personally. People don't die from suicide, they die from sadness. Cannabis helps that. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next public speaker. And for those of you who are standing in the back, would you please take a seat so that we can observe our safety regulations? Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Sebastian Vasquez.
Hello, Council. My name's Sebastian Vasquez. I am a resident and have been all my life of Bakersfield, California. I am a stage 2 cancer survivor, and I'm here proudly to say that medical marijuana saved my life. I had to go through 4 sessions of chemotherapy, which was very harsh on my body, and I can proudly say here that marijuana gave me hope to live. It gave me faith to keep getting better when nothing else was going right for you. So I ask you guys to open up your heart. Don't know if you've ever been a prisoner of your own body or ever known any crazy feeling like that, but when there's some medicine out there that's able to help you physically and mentally to get through your days, I ask for you to not keep that away from us. I have here letters from other patients as myself who weren't able to represent, so I'm here to represent them as well, to tell you guys, please save our medicine here in town. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. And you can give the letters to our city clerk, please, right here. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Carl R. Hight.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself. We have 1 minute and 51 seconds left on this topic.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My name is Carl Hight, Madam Mayor, City Council. Thank you very much. I am also a veteran. I spent almost 10 years in the Marine Corps. I worked for approximately 23 years for the Department of Corrections. I was retired medically as a lieutenant. I struggled with narcotics. Due to my retirement, I was able to use medical cannabis to get off of narcotics and try to function as a normal person. I know we're running out of time, so thank you very much, and please reconsider medical cannabis for Bakersfield. We need the help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hight. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Curtis Bingham Sr. regarding blessings and the law.
Thank you. And you can go ahead and reset the other clock. Welcome.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, Honorable Mayor. Curtis James Bingham Sr. is my name. I'm a street evangelist for our Lord and Savior, God Almighty, Jesus Christ, who truly is the only begotten Son of a holy Heavenly Father, God Almighty. The Lord tells us to bless our leaders, and that would be you at this present time. And I would just like to say it's a beautiful thing to be before you, and thank you for the opportunity. And they don't make a school for mayors. God has seen fit to bless you himself, Mayor Go. The job you've been doing out there is a tremendous job, and as much wisdom and knowledge the Lord has given you to work with the young and the old, the blacks and the white, the rich and the poor, and do it outstanding as you're doing. So I should like to say thank you. I also like to say every group has MVPs. MVP is somebody that can do something that other people cannot do. And everybody here, this whole board, all you guys would be considered MVPs. But we also have MVPs here out in the city that look, to your help. And our number one MVP we have in the city would be law enforcement. If it wasn't for them, we could not do anything whatsoever. And we got this spot shotter thing. And I'm just so happy to be standing here to say we finally have an opportunity to bless them back. Most law enforcement officers wear bulletproof vests. This spot shotter is just like a bulletproof vest for them too. They know what a bullet is before they get there. So this is one time the city can show them how much we really thank them by putting this spot shotter in immediately as quick as we can because we need it. You know, we building a new freeway. Don't mean that people are leaving. That mean more people are coming. And we got to have this spot shotter, and this should be a happy occasion to give them that. And I'm looking forward to the time when the time comes, or sometime when you take your #1 MVP that we have, and we're able to get them to the side and ask them, what do you need? Tell us right now so we can put it all together for you so they can tend to their job, because this world will end because of evil. See, the Lord said it's not going to get any better. It's going to end because of evil. To give them everything they need to do the job they need. We got a person coming in called the Antichrist. The Lord said he can't come till the restrainer be taken out of the way. The restrainer is the Holy Spirit. So our restrainer right now is law enforcement. They're restraining all this evil. This evil is here. They have death jobs, and we want to do everything we can to bless them. We had a blessed, mighty chief in Greg Williamson, very beautiful man. Now we have another blessed chief Chief Martin, who fears nobody but the Lord. And that's a beautiful thing to have somebody to stand up and do the job the way he's doing his job. So I just pray everybody recognize we got to take care of our MVPs. That would be law enforcement, the fire department, and the district attorney office. These take care of criminal elements. And if you don't have the firemen out there to do what they're doing, everybody got something at home they want to keep. So you got to look at your MVPs. And I mean MVP, as I'm saying, respect them, let's bless them, and let's do everything we can and take care of our MVPs. In the name of God Almighty, Jesus Christ, thank you. Thank you again, Honorable Mayor, and thank you for all the other MVPs sitting up here. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Gilbert LaRoque, President of the Downtown Business Association, for an update.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I'm Gilbert LaRoque here today on behalf of the Downtown Business Association. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and council members. I appreciate the time. Just want to kick off 2018, all the exciting things happening downtown. A couple events I want to mention, of course, is the Downtown Business Association does have what they call a medical guide. So through these last few months, we thought, how can we kick off the medical guide and be able to talk about and introduce our medical members, so in the downtown and in the surrounding area of downtown. So on January 13th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., we're going to have the Total Women Fit Zone Health and Fitness Expo for the downtown area. There'll be lots of local experts there to educate the community on health and fitness. The first 50 people arriving will actually be able to get a free flu shot. We also have the first 100 people getting bags, and we also have dietitians and exercise classes and lots of different education for the public, free to everyone. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Our next event will be coming up will be the State of the Downtown Breakfast, February 15th. One of the goals, safe, secure, and welcoming our downtown. The Downtown Business Association has been around for 64 years, but it's about everyone that's participating in the love of downtown. Downtown is amazing, and it's growing, and people need to know and hopefully know the amazing things that are happening in the downtown area, the revitalization projects and PBS and everything. So the downtown State of the Downtown Breakfast will be Thursday, February 15th from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Please come by. Our councilman will be our guest speaker, and please come by and be able to talk about all the exciting things going on downtown. We're not the only organization doing great things downtown. So there are great things happening with First Friday, Second Saturday. Come out and visit the restaurants, come out and visit all our different stores, and come shopping, and come enjoy our beautiful downtown area, hotels and restaurants. And please come, and it's all about making our downtown grow and all our great things going on. So thank you very much, and visit downtown Bakersfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. LaRoque. Madam Clerk, next public speaker, please.
Ray Scott, regarding Keep California Beautiful.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor Go, council members, city staff. You know, once again, it's always a privilege to be able to come up and talk about the great things of Bakersfield. And this upcoming month in February, Keep California Beautiful has the K through 12 Recycling Challenge, which is to support our state goal of reaching 75% by 2020. Also has a number of elements in it that help the schools, which are a commercial entity, meet their requirements for mandated commercial recycling and organics. City of Bakersfield, of course, Keep Bakersfield Beautiful does a great job in the educational part of our schools. And this program is part of that piece for Keep Bakersfield Beautiful. The second item that I have for you is in 2017, we launched, as far as Keep California Beautiful, the first collegiate program for Keep America Beautiful itself. That was in Sac State. I've been working with CSUB Bakersfield, and in April, they will be the second collegiate affiliate for Keep America Beautiful. And because of that, the new CEO and president of Keep America Beautiful will be here in Bakersfield for that press conference. And so that it's more of an invitation to let you guys know and have your calendars so that way you could possibly participate in the state press conference. Normally I hold it up in Sacramento. This year I'm holding it in Bakersfield because of the inauguration of CSUB as a affiliate for Keep America Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Would you say your name for the record, please?
Ray Scott.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Terry Maxwell regarding Centennial Corridor financing.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Terry Maxwell. I'm here to talk a little bit about what's going on with Centennial Corridor, in particular what the funding is. I believe each of you have 4 sheets of paper. This is the first one. This is an article from the Bakersfield Californian, June 15, 2017, where they're talking about the groundbreaking for Centennial Corridor. But in the 2 places that I have highlighted, there is a plea on the part of Mr. Bill Thomas. Since the Sentinel project is not fully funded, Thomas also made a plea to receive more money. And at the end of it, while the exact timeline for construction is uncertain due to the funding issues, the city plans to this year to continue getting the corridor ready for building the main line. Your second sheet is, now this is from, it's a draft from June 30th, 2017. Hopefully this isn't the first time all of you have seen this. It may be the first time you've delved into actually what it said. This is talking about the financial plan for the Centennial Corridor. And you'll look at page 3, you'll see that the unfunded phase of this project will require construction costs, including capital construction, support, and oversight. Unfunded phase is estimated at $245 million. Now, tonight, you're going to, on the consent calendar, I'm sure, go ahead and approve this agreement. And it's an agreement where we are agreeing between ourselves and California Department of Transportation to go after $30 million as a way of trying to fund this. But more interesting, in your administrative report, it says, in order to reduce the amount of bonding necessary to complete this Centennial project. I'd like to know, is there any of the city council people tonight that could tell me what your plans are, how you're going to fund Centennial Corridor? And if you do know that, why doesn't the public? The public has no idea how you're planning on funding this. I don't know if the city manager has divulged that information to you, or whether any of you even asked him how he's planning on paying for this. But even if you get the $30 million, you're $210 million short of what you need to fund this project. And I think that people in the public really needs to know exactly how you're going to fund this. And this is a timely thing to talk about because you're going to be talking about budgets very soon. And that kind of a liability that you're going to bond may affect your general revenue. So,
Mr. Maxwell, your time is up.
thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Raymond Garcia regarding Barnard Street and crime.
Welcome. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Raymond Garcia. Mayor Gao, hello, and council members. The problems we have over there at Barnard Street, they've been there a long time, I know. I had my Aunt Josie living at 235 Barnard Street, and my mother took over the house after she died. My Aunt Josie worked at Mercy Hospital for a long time and retired from there. During the past 3 years, she's had gotten someone sleeping in the car at her house, had called the cops about that. She also, my mother has her sister living with her. They're both senior citizens. One's 89 and the other is 90 years old. I got a hold of a detective, and they were supposed to be following up because there's a lot of traffic going through there, drug trafficking. There's a place there that running computer gaming. No one ever got back to me. It's already been about 1.5 years, or to my mother or my brother that's there taking care of my mom, also watching her when I can't. Before that, my mother got her ring ripped off across the street from some people that had a alternating rebuild place with some lady that had another shop in the front. And she actually took my mom's arm, bended it, took the ring off, and she had a water set up there with some soap in it. That lady was put in jail with the help of my mother. It took about 1 year for that to happen. I don't know what happened to her. I don't think they just told her that they caught the woman. I'd like to, I tried calling on this other incident. There's another incident that happened on the 4th of January. Wasn't a very good New Year's. I had to fumigate my mom's house, put them at the Ramada Inn, and somebody broke into the house and they stole all her jewelry. And they stole my brother's 2 guitars. My brother called, and I haven't had any response with the police coming over there. I needed them to come over, and twice I waited 6 hours. I'm not putting the whole police department down, but there is a need out there. I mean, if you even live there, you would see it yourself. I had to sit out there and watch a lot of the stuff, and a lot of the people were going to the plasma center to give plasma, and they're just casing the place. There's also homeless people casing the place. You heard the others. I don't have to get into that, but it's mostly people dealing with drugs, thieves, burglaries, people that commit these crimes. It's not, it's more people on the harder stuff, not the marijuana. But I still haven't gotten the report finished. They should know already that they're senior citizens that live there. They haven't bothered coming over, except I did see the sheriff there this morning at the house next door. It's boarded up. It's a Section 8, and it was burned in the garage. They had a bed in there. They burned the bed. They caught the fire at 2 in the morning because somebody called and put the fire out. I'm still waiting on answers. They're telling me to go through to the internet, and I need to do something else. I'm a
Sorry,
vet.
your time is up.
I'm a vet also,
Can you bring your statements to a close, please?
and I need something done in that whole vicinity from 235 on down. I don't know how many others. I
Sir,
need to
your
find
time is
out.
up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor Go. Mr. Garcia, thank you so much for coming tonight. I'd like to follow up with you. I'm sure you left your contact information with the city clerk. And also, Chief Martin, if you'll follow up as well, I'd appreciate it. Perfect. You're on it. Thank you so much. But I look forward to speaking with you and your mother as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Stella Garcia regarding neighborhood problems.
Okay. So we're going to not have her speak. Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
That was the last speaker, Mayor.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Consent calendar items 8A through 8AK for approval. A staff memorandum was received regarding item 8L, correcting the address for Flood Ministries to 601 24th Street, Suite C. A staff memorandum was received requesting item 8R be removed from the agenda, and an additional staff memorandum was received regarding item 8Z, transmitting Exhibits A and B and the addition of Exhibit C to Amendment Number 2 of the Agreement Number 13-211.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I've checked with council members, and nobody wants to pull anything off the consent agenda, so I will make the motion to approve items 8A through 8AK, removing item R.
You have a motion. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our next item is the public hearing. Before I open the public hearing, I'll go over the presentation time policy. Each side will be allowed 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes for all speakers, so it's important that you identify yourself, make your statement quickly so others may speak. We'll hear statements from those opposed to staff's recommendation, then we'll hear from those who would like to speak in favor of staff's recommendation. If there's testimony on both sides, each side will be allowed a 5-minute rebuttal. There's a clock on the wall behind me which indicates 15 minutes. Please step to the mic and identify yourself. After 14 minutes, a yellow light will come on. At the end of 15 minutes, a red light will flash indicating your time is up, and we'd ask that you quickly end your statement. You may ask questions during your statement, but they won't be answered until the public hearing is closed. If you have written comments that are longer than your verbal statement, please give those to the clerk and she'll provide copies to the council. Please be courteous to others who wish to speak. Unless there's approval by the majority of the City Council, there's a strict 15-minute time limit for all those in favor or in opposition to staff's recommendation. So please be concise, avoid repeating the remarks of the previous speakers. Madam Clerk, please read the public hearing item.
Public hearing to consider resolution adopting fees pursuant to the cost recovery system.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, Mr. Nelson Smith.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. Nelson Smith, Finance Director. Several months ago, the city went through a full review of the master fee schedule, and in June of 2017, the council adopted the current fee schedule that's in place today. Subsequent to that time, staff has identified a handful of items that need correction or corrective language. I would consider these things as cleanup in nature, but let me walk through them briefly for you. Under the inspection fees and services, we need to change the language regarding the valuation year from February 2014 to February 2017. Under the fire suppression permit processing, the multiplier listed needs to be changed from 0.14 to 0.0144. Under site plan review, there are 3 proposed changes. The first is to the minimum fee, where we want to add language that clarifies that this includes 3 reviews. The second item is regarding the maximum fee, where we want to cap the fee at $9,553. And the third item is we'd like to add an additional fee or a new fee of $131 if there is required a fourth or subsequent review. Under the map and improvement plan checking, this plan check fee is normally based upon valuation improvements. The city engineer would like the authority to be able to set a fee based upon time and materials for something that they would consider atypical or unusual. They've given a couple examples of that in the admin report. One has to do with Cal Water proposing work in the city right-of-way, and another has to do with Southern Cal Gas replacing a gas line in the city right-of-way. Under concealed weapon permit processing renewals, there was a calculation error made in the renewal fee. It should not be $82. We want to reduce it down to $10.50. The lieutenant's time was calculated in that, and they do not spend a lot of time on the renewal process itself. They do spend time on the initial permit, but not the renewals. And finally, the business license processing fee has been carrying a state surcharge of $1 for many years. In October of 2017, the governor signed into law a new fee that increased that from $1 to $4, and we would like the fee schedule to reflect that change. So staff is recommending adoption of the resolution following completion of the public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, I'll open the public hearing. How many people would like to speak in opposition to staff's recommendation? You just raise your hands. Seeing none, is there anyone who wishes to speak in support of staff's recommendation? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and return it to council for comment and action. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. I would make the motion to approve the resolution as presented by staff.
You have a motion. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Under reports, we have a police department update. School resource officers, number 1, agreement with Bakersfield City School District to provide school resource officer services from February 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2018. Shot spotter gunshot detection system, a resolution determining the shot spotter gunshot detection system cannot be reasonably obtained through the usual bidding procedures, and authorizing the finance director to dispense with bidding not to exceed $430,000. And number 2, an agreement with ShotSpotter Technology, Inc., not to exceed $430,000 to install and support the ShotSpotter gunshot detection and location system for a 2-year period. Number 3, an appropriation of $450,000 in federal grant revenues to the police operating budget within the general fund for the implementation of the ShotSpotter technologies and police de-escalating training efforts. A staff memorandum was received transmitting changes to the agreement at the request of ShotSpotter.
Is there anything further, Madam Clerk? Chief Martin, please.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. We're going to take this in 3 different sections here. So the school resource officer portion will be handled by Assistant Chief Domestos. The ShotSpotter detection system will be handled by Captain Mullins. And then I will come back and discuss the de-escalation efforts, and we'll entertain questions at that point.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm going to start off with the school resource officer position. So about a year ago, under the direction of the City Council, the Safe Neighborhoods Committee requested that we look into the school resource officer program and going back to a full-time school resource officer program. We began discussing this possibility with the Bakersfield City School District, and we were able to come to an agreement for a pilot program which would begin February 1st of this year and run through June of 2018. Bakersfield City School District has agreed to fund the cost of 2 police officers full-time for this period of time. Our hope is that this pilot program is successful and we can eventually enter into a long-term contract with them. We don't anticipate a reduction in services as we currently have 2 school resource officers full-time that have primarily worked with the Bakersfield City School District and some of their programs like the Student Attendance Review Board and a few others. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Captain Mullins.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. On August 16th, 2016, a 3-year-old girl was playing in her front yard in the 300 block of Donna Street. At 11 o'clock at night, a pickup truck pulled up, men jumped out, fired numerous shots at the residents. The little girl was shot in the leg. The injuries weren't severe enough for this to make more than a minor blip in the news. On February 23rd, 2017, Caetano Guyton, 5 years old, was murdered at California Nest Street in the city of Bakersfield. He was riding in the back seat of a vehicle. Men pulled up behind them and opened fire with handguns. He was shot and killed. On November 10th, 2017, Major Sutton was inside his own home in the 800 block of Pershing Street when men kicked in the front door and murdered him, shot his pregnant mother, and his 8-year-old brother. These 3 incidents have things in common. They all occurred in the same geographic area. They struck innocent victims, and most importantly, they could have been predicted. When we tolerate a level of gunplay, when we tolerate a level of gunfire in our city, it is predictable that eventually the victims will be innocent. As you see on the first slide, gunfire in our city is heavily concentrated in certain areas. Some places see almost none. These are shootings, not just gunfire, not just shots heard. The most heavily concentrated areas are in one area, where those 3 children were shot, 2 of them killed. Next slide, please. This is a heat map, and you can see where what would be called the hottest spot in Bakersfield is. It tells us exactly where to focus our efforts. However, when we look at these sorts of things, we look for patterns. Unfortunately, with these incidents, the patterns are difficult to figure out. They're all hours of the day and night. Many of them are gang-related. They're spontaneous. They have little or no warning, and they're over in seconds. The picture you see up there is from a video camera at Roy's Market 2 nights on Sunday night of this week. It was over in less than 30 seconds. A faster police response time to these incidents is critical to effective public safety. Getting police on scene faster means getting aid to the victims quicker. It means evidence is retained and is obtained and retained. And it means that witnesses are still on scene and can be identified. Suspects can be held accountable. The effects of gunfire don't end at the scene. They aren't over when that criminal case is over. The mere sound of gunshots inside a neighborhood can have a long-lasting effect on children and everybody who lives there. This photograph of Lieutenant Madden at the top was taken at a school assembly where we asked a bunch of 6th graders at Bessie Owens School how many of them had heard gunshots ever. Every one of them raised their hands. Some of them laughed and said they'd heard gunshots on the way to school that day. This is unacceptable in our city. This sort of acceptance, this learned helplessness, leads to an erosion of faith in the law and in law enforcement. Traditional, aggressive policing methods of locking everybody up don't work. They don't have any effect other than to damage relationships. An inaccurate police response is not as helpful as a direct, concentrated response. To help improve our responses to these incidents, ShotSpotter technology is intended to make the police response faster, more effective, more efficient. It's intended to improve relationships with the community and police by making our response more consistent, more accurate, more fair. Most important, it gets aid to the victims of these gunshots quicker. Next slide, please. The system works by placing acoustic sensors throughout the neighborhood. These sensors detect the distinctive sound of gunshots, not fireworks, not vehicles backfiring, not other types of loud noises, but gunshots. An alert is immediately sent to the ShotSpotter analysis system in Newark, California, and within a minute, the alert is processed and transferred back to us within 1 minute. That minute, it will be sent back to our mobile data computers inside our patrol cars. It will also go to the dispatch center, but it goes directly to the patrol cars who are in the area already. In the case of Major Sutton, killed in the 800 block of Pershing Street, officers heard the gunshots. They were in the area and heard the gunshots, but they don't know where to go. It's almost impossible at night to tell where a gunshot is coming from. They have to wait for somebody to call. In the case of Case and Guyton, because the person driving the car left the scene, it took us 20 minutes to get back to that crime scene. At that time, during that time, vehicles are driving through, shell casings are getting scattered, evidence is lost or destroyed. It's intolerable. The information that we get is we get more information, we'll get it faster. We get an accurate location, the direction of travel if the shooter is moving, will be an information on multiple shooters, and if there's automatic weapons present. The officers can actually hear an audio file in the patrol car as they're driving to the scene of the gunshots and discern whatever information they can from that. In the case of an officer-involved shooting, this information could be critical for the city for many reasons. With the ShotSpotter mobile system, the alerts don't just go to the patrol car or to the dispatch center, they can go directly to the officer through their smartphones. This is critical because the officers aren't always sitting in front of that computer, and the dispatcher can take minutes to get that information out. We can also share this information. The information on ShotSpotter alerts is available through a mobile app. We can share that information with schools in the area, firefighters and EMS, and other law enforcement agencies who will be in the area. That information can be immediately made available to them. The schools can be locked down as soon as they hear this. The selection of our coverage area isn't very difficult to do. We can all see where there's more dots representing more shootings. If we take the next slide. This particular neighborhood suffered over a quarter of the city's shootings in that year. Concentrated in that very small area. Less than 3% of the city's area, more than a quarter of the shootings. So the proposed coverage area is on this map. Primarily from Chester Avenue to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, from California Avenue to Brundage, and then we see a leg up the Baker Street area, up the Old Town Kern area, near Monterey. This is the area where, unfortunately, we see the most gunfire. This is a pilot project intended to use the grant funds provided through the Project Safe Neighborhoods program to install the system and determine the effects in the next 2 years. We'll partner with Cal State University Bakersfield to provide a thorough evaluation and analysis of our program and its effects on gunfire within our city, the police response to those shootings, and the public's perception of those shootings, or the public's perception of the police and their response to gunfire. We believe that ShotSpotter will help us achieve our goals by building community trust, improving police service, and making our city a safer place. Well, Mayor and Council, thank you very much.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Joe. Honorable Mayor and City Council, the Bakersfield Police Department strives to be a professional organization with an emphasis on problem solving and in customer service. The School Resource Officer Program isn't just about having officers on the campuses. Assistant Chief Domestos talked about a few of those things. Captain Mullins talked about how this would work with ShotSpotter. We can share the ShotSpotter information with the schools that are in this area, so it can go directly to school administrators so they can put the school on lockdown prior to us even having to call. Those are the types of a holistic approach that we're trying to accomplish. The department makes every effort to stay up to date with current law, policies, and procedures. In May of 2015, a report from the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing was released, and it contains 6 pillars. Each contains several recommendations for law enforcement. Tonight, I'll provide the council with an update on the efforts the Bakersfield Police Department has made related to Pillar 2. The action item 2.2.1 on de-escalation. The department has taken over 20 specific and deliberate actions to implement best practices through training and education throughout the entire department in line with my philosophy of creating a culture of accountability. I will share a few of those now. In June of 2017, the Bakersfield Police Department hosted the first principled policing class sponsored by Cal State University Long Beach. The BPD command staff and members of this community attended this course together, and is designed to build trust between police and the community by embracing procedural justice as a core philosophy of the Bakersfield Police Department. Building and maintaining trust between police and community is foundational to our commitment to de-escalation whenever possible. The Bakersfield Police Department has sent 3 additional instructors to Cal State University Long Beach to become certified to teach principal policing courses. The BPD intends to have all employees attend this course. All police academies have attended a 40-hour crisis intervention training course providing students with de-escalation tools and techniques. During advanced officer training, de-escalation is also taught and emphasized. Our crisis response negotiator team, it consists of 9 sworn officers ranging from sergeant to police officer. During 2017, the team was deployed across all patrol shifts. They provide ongoing training to officers, encouraging the utilization of crisis response techniques, as well as encouraging the utilization of this personnel. This personnel is utilized in mentally ill, barricaded subjects, suicidal subjects, and any situation where negotiations can be utilized. The crisis negotiation team is available for dispatch as they are now on call 24 hours a day. In 2017, this team of officers responded to several incidents requiring their specialized skills and abilities, and any of these incidents might otherwise have resulted in a use of force or a SWAT call-out. The police department also implemented an 8-hour crisis intervention behavioral health training to all field training officers. Field training officers are required to attend this training prior to participating in the program. The course reinforces the officers' abilities to identify and differentiate between mental illness, intellectual disabilities, and substance abuse disorders. The emphasis is on de-escalation techniques and conflict resolution to effectively interact and establish appropriate responses when contacting segments of our population. The department also has a sworn officer assigned to the Kern County Mental Health Team full-time. The focus of this officer and team is to make contact with repetitive callers who suffer from mental illness and provide those individuals with resources to assist them. The BPD has seen a decline in the need for police services by these individuals since the integration of the officer working with the mental health team. As some of your speakers talked about with the homeless and some of the issues that we're having, we're not sitting on our hands. We're taking a proactive approach. 21st Century Policing Leadership Challenge Training. This California Post certified course was hosted by the Bakersfield Police Department in April of 2017. All sergeants and senior officers attended. This course covered implicit bias, procedural justice, accountability, and building community trust. In May, the department created a professional standards lieutenant's position. This lieutenant is assigned to the headquarters division and reports directly to me. The primary function of the professional standards lieutenant is to assist in maintaining unquestionable integrity as well as effective and efficient law enforcement services to our community. This professional standards lieutenant examines opportunities to streamline procedures and improve systems to make the department more efficient and effective and accountable. The goal is to ensure that all BPD personnel demonstrate a high level of professionalism and performance to enhance and maintain the professional integrity of the department and to promote a high level of community confidence in our operations. The department hosted a law enforcement active diffusion strategies course in June of last year. All sergeants and sworn personnel below the rank of sergeant attended this course. The purpose of this course was to provide tools and tactics for de-escalation and how to avoid and deflect aggression from suspects. Captain Mullins alluded a little bit to the litigation side of use of force. In August of 2017, Attorney Missy Olin provided training to over 150 Bakersfield Police Department employees, which included lieutenants and below. Also, our 2016 Academy recruits attended this training. All of our special enforcement units, our defensive tactics instructors, dispatchers, and more. This training was designed to update students on current law and provide insight into understanding the risk involved with the application of force and the liability that the officer and the organization can incur. This seminar also discussed the importance of de-escalation, professionalism, and understanding others' perspectives. In line with creating a culture of accountability, the department changed the senior police officer job specs to include more supervisory duties. The purpose of this was employee development as well as increased supervision of officers and all employees in our operations division. Each shift currently has 2 senior police officers who now assist the sergeants with supervisory tasks and duties. In August of 2017, the department held a basic supervisory course for all senior police officers. This course provided basic tools for supervisors, the importance of accountability, and quality control. In August of 2017, the Bakersfield Police Department K-9 Management Team, which consists of 1 captain, 2 lieutenants, and 3 sergeants, attended a K-9 liability course titled Handler Instructor Training Seminar. This course emphasizes risk, liability, best practices, and training. Every member of our defensive tactics team is currently attending training courses to certify each member in all of our less than lethal options and tools carried by every officer. The DTAC, defensive tactics team instructors, will then be deployed across every shift and provide training monthly to all sworn personnel in the proper use of the tools carried by the officers, along with reinforcing de-escalation. How do we evaluate it? Well, the department also implemented a program which provides de-escalation training frequently to on-duty personnel through the use of video scenarios. The DTAC team creates videos involving scenarios commonly encountered. On-duty personnel are summoned to an undisclosed training location. They are briefed, they watch the videos, and then they are asked to respond. The defensive tactics instructors then provide feedback and critique to the officer's response. The officer is taught alternative tactics for each scenario to better prepare them for contacts while on duty. All sworn personnel attended at least 1 scenario during the calendar year of 2017. In July of 2017, the department implemented an early intervention system to track patterns of use of force and review use of force incidents that exceed predetermined thresholds. The professional standards lieutenant is responsible for this system and coordinates with the early intervention team and committee. The early intervention committee meets weekly to review and provide a report to the division commanders in regards to any actions taken. Every officer in our department understands the organizational philosophy of applying the minimum amount of force by the minimum number of officers. Captain Mullins mentioned it during his shot spotter presentation, and the EIS committee fully understands this as well. The behavior we tolerate is the behavior we encourage. The Bakersfield Police Department purchased a use of force simulator to provide further scenario training based on de-escalation. The simulator is used regularly during advanced officer training and range qualifications. The department also adopted the Lexipol policy, which discusses de-escalation and the use of force. We continue to research and equip officers with as many less lethal, easy for me to say, options as possible. And I feel it's extremely important to understand the fact that de-escalation requires the active participation of at least 2 individuals. There are some people in our society that no matter the technique employed, they will respond violently or will physically resist. We have no control over that. I cannot say it enough to anyone who has been contacted, who is going to be contacted or arrested by a Bakersfield police officer. Comply, then complain. When I was selected as chief, I indicated that we would take a holistic approach to public safety. As your chief, it is my job to protect the credibility and integrity of the Bakersfield Police Department while working to accomplish the goals set by this council with the expectations set by our community. I hope that our intelligence-led gang operation last month, the school resource officer program, and the shot spotter that is in front of you, and my brief presentation has demonstrated to you the commitment, dedication, professionalism of the 500 men and women of your Bakersfield Police Department. And that holistic approach should indicate that I take my job seriously and personally. And I will entertain any questions now.
Thank you, Chief. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor. Way to go, Chief. Thank you and your department. I think you guys are doing an excellent job, and certainly, I think over the last few years, I can honestly say I've been very, very pleased with, I think, the direction the department has gone in. You talk about 21st century principles, and I think that's really what you're ushering in. And so I want to commend you and your staff for really being committed to that and seeing to it. I think the items you guys have presented to us today are actually really exciting. The shot spotter gunshot detection system is something that I think Southeast Bakersfield certainly stands to benefit from. And I'm very interested in seeing how we believe that actually helps us out in the field over the course of the next 2 years. That's something that the Safe Neighborhoods Committee had an opportunity to learn about through the process, and Councilmember Parlier, who's not here today, made sure we never abandoned the dream of acquiring this, and I really want to thank staff for seeking this out and making it a reality. I think it's a welcomed addition to this community. In fact, I spent some time with some council members and mayors from up and down the state this last weekend, and they were from larger communities, but larger communities that have actually employed this technology, and they all raved and ranted about the positive impacts they thought it was having in their community. So I'm very excited to see that come. I'm very excited to see how it helps. And I don't know what happens on June 30th with the school resource officers' positions, but I would love to make sure that item stays at the forefront of our minds as we kind of go through that little interim process with BCSD. But otherwise, my hat's off to you. Great work, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor Go. Chief, I echo the sentiment expressed by my colleague. I'm really impressed with you and your department, not only in the holistic approach you've taken in the department, but also the methodical approach you've taken in implementing the various programs and action plan items. And I commend you, and I really appreciated your report that you've given tonight. Looking at the shot spotter heat map, certainly a large portion of Southeast Bakersfield, East Bakersfield, parts of Ward 2, Central Bakersfield are included in that. I'm very excited to see what comes of it. I was really surprised with how many shots go unreported. The number of times that gunshots are fired and nobody reports a thing. and this will help us respond to that. And I'm interested in seeing the aggregate data once we deploy all of this new technology. So I'm looking forward to working with you and continuing the effort on the Safe Neighborhoods Committee. And then finally, I wanted to commend you as well on the BCSD partnership with the two school resource officers. Chronic truancy throughout the district is a major issue, and certainly this is a win-win relationship for the school district, for our community, and for the city of Bakersfield. So thank you again for your holistic approach and for being there for our young citizens.
Thank you. Question?
Thank you very much, Chief. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief. Really appreciate the work you're doing. Just ask staff, is this one motion or 3 separate motions? What are we looking for?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, if you're comfortable with one motion moving staff's recommendations, that would be fine.
Okay, great, thank you. So I will move for approval of the agreement with the Bakersfield City School District, adoption of sole source resolution, and approval of the agreement with the ShotSpotter Technologies, and approval of the appropriation.
You have a motion. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Council and mayor statements.
Councilmember Freeman?
Yeah, earlier this evening, we had a number of people making statements about medical marijuana, and they never made a proposal or mentioned what they wanted of the council. There was mention of a ballot initiative. I'm assuming that perhaps they're organizing to do a ballot initiative to carve out medical marijuana as a permitted use. So it seems to me we might want to explore this a little bit more. There's clearly some sort of a need for people who kind of like the baby got thrown out with the bathwater on the broader motion that all marijuana can't have dispensaries, but I think it would be worth getting more information to the council. Maybe there's a workshop, maybe there's a public hearing. I'd like to hear from, other community members, who may be for or against. I'd like to hear from doctors. I'd like to hear from police if there were some sort of an ability for strictly limited number of medical marijuana dispensaries, the pros and cons of that, because we didn't really have a thorough exploration this evening, but I'd certainly, as a council member, like to learn more about that, to know if there is first anything we can do, should we do anything, but so I would throw that out. I'm not really saying we need a resolution or anything, but I thought maybe there's an opportunity to hear more pros and cons at one of our hearings about a carve out of just that one item. I don't know if a council can carve that out of their own or if it has to go to a ballot.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Freeman, perhaps I could talk to you later before you actually make a referral. I believe the initiative that they were talking about is already scheduled, sir, for the November 2018 ballot. It's called the Jarvis Epps petition. If that initiative passes, then that will legalize medical marijuana here in the city of Bakersfield. And I don't believe that you were on the council at the time that the council went through that process to get that initiative on the ballot. So again, if I could perhaps talk to you after the meeting, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Mr. Nero, if that were to pass, would there still be a requirement that cities notify the state or not if they wanted to permit it, or would it simply permit them?
It is a two-step process, and so when the state then asks the city if business XYZ is allowed, we would then have to say it's allowed because that particular initiative passed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Others? Seeing none? Again, Happy New Year. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your participation, and I want to personally express my thanks to our police department, Chief Martin, Chief Domestahas, Captain Mullins. It's been my honor to be able to work together. We get to work in other forums outside of this, Safe Street Partnership, and meeting together with Bakersfield City School District Superintendent to be able to move these things forward. Thank you so much for your investment of time, and thank you to your entire department. Happy New Year, and we are adjourned at 6:49.